What a night on Saturday.
Yes.
Huh? What a night. And your Rangers won, and means we have this Game 7. I wish I had that same positive feeling about my team yesterday when I was behind the bar at the Portley, as I was having a great time pouring the drinks and then watching them melt down and not be able to hit shots in that third quarter. And then the fourth quarter got even more frustrating as Jimmy Butler is hobbling around. Basically, he's being a decoy. There's nothing that he could have contributed to that team, but he grinded through it and he was on the court. And the Knicks could just not take advantage. I mean,
Jalen Brunson said it all. He goes, "Put it on me."
But he wasn't that bad.
I know, but this is what you do. He's the leader of the team. And, quite frankly, they couldn't hit a 3-point shot to save their life.
Ugly.
That and the fact that they missed 8 free throws.
Yeah.
So you look at those two numbers and you just say to yourself, okay, it's game 1. They wasted it away. Home court advantage, the whole thing. But I for some reason, when Jalen Brunson says what he says after the game, kind of makes me know that he's going to have a great game coming back. That's the way he is. That's the way he's been. They just shot really poorly. I mean, and especially in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really concerned yet. I'm annoyed by that loss, and it's a game that they should have continued to have control of, especially when you saw Jimmy Butler go down, and he was, totally ineffective. And it's not like there wasn't like a blood in the water sense from the Knicks when he was hobbling around. It was almost like, when something like that happens, he doesn't come out of the game, I'm expecting the Knicks to take full advantage of it, and they just didn't. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just contagious when you can't hit a shot and the entire team looks listless, and that's what was going on. And I know that Jalen Brunson said he was horrific. He wasn't horrific. He obviously did not hit the shots and the key shots, especially from 3, that he needed and the Knicks needed from him, and that really was the difference in the game. But I'm not totally concerned yet, and I do agree he's been so damn good for them that I would be shocked if he came out and had another performance where he felt like he let the team down in game 2. That's not going to happen. And really every other player for the Heat outside of Jimmy Butler was as good as they could possibly be. Especially Kevin Love was a big pain in the ass too.
Well, they almost had like a perfect game from those guys. And remember, the Knicks only played 8 players.
Right.
The Heat played 10 players, so that has a little something to do with the fatigue and all that other stuff. I just, look, we talk about it incessantly on this radio program, and we've been saying it for years. It truly is a make or miss league. You either hit the shots or you don't. And Jalen Brunson was right. He had 5 turnovers. He had a horrific shooting night. That's not the game that we expect from him, nor is it a game should we ever expect from him. But what he does have, and he takes accountability. So just listening to him talk after the game, like Julius Randle probably would have stormed out of the locker room. He stood there at his locker, and he goes, "Look, I was horrific. This is on me." And I do appreciate that. I don't care what anybody says. I do appreciate when a player, could say, "Hey, I didn't play well." And I'm going to take the responsibility for it. And, and he will bounce back. If this were obviously game 7, it'd be a different story, but it's game 1. It's a long way to go. It's going to be a hotly contested series. You know that. I know that. Just like the Rangers and Devils. I said it was going to be a 7-game series, and here we are, Monday morning, 7-game series comes to fruition, and we got a game 7 at the Prudential Center tonight, and it's going to be everybody sitting on the edge of their couch in the tri-state area for this.
Yeah, I have to tell you, man, when we were talking about this and you were down in the dumps and your team had lost 3 straight, and how many times did we say in the NHL, there has never been a sport in a postseason in a sport where a team could look so dead in one game and then completely flip it in the next game with no rhyme or reason. And that really is what happened in this game 6. And quite frankly, I mean, to sit here and try to predict what's going to happen in this game 7 is just, to me, completely idiotic. I don't know. I know when I'm watching these teams play well, I know what they're doing to play well. Both of them, I've seen them win each 3 games in this series. But to act like I know what version of each of these teams that we are getting tonight, there is no way in hell that you could predict this. The only thing that's interesting, really, really interesting to me, is the Akira Schmid story over?
He's got to play.
I know he's going to play. I'm just saying, is he going to come out and then have a really bad performance? Did the Rangers, get to that second level of Akira Schmid where he is no longer the rising superstar that he was in the 3 Devils wins prior to Game 6? Is that whole thing just like Louis Domingue had shriveled up into a cute story and tossed away as the Rangers went and won that series last year? Is the same thing going to happen to Akira Schmid here in Game 7?
I think a lot of it depends on how this game starts tonight. I think it was like Saturday night. I went back and watched the game.
Of course you did.
And the first period, you felt like the Devils controlled the period. You felt like they came out and they came very close. And of course, Igor makes a couple of really key saves. And next thing you know, it's 1-0, and then they explode in the second period. And Gerard Gallant did make some changes, and the biggest change he made is he flipped Kane and Tarasenko and put Tarasenko up there with Kreider and Zibanejad, and put Tarasenko on the first power play. And that meant there was no more drag on those two guys or that first power play. The drag meaning Patrick Kane.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We all see it. We all know what it is. So we just got to hope that, that shift, that move paid dividends on Saturday night, and hopefully it will pay dividends again tonight. But look, this has been a hotly contested series. These games have been, for the most part, been close. I know the Rangers have won all 3 games by scoring 5 goals, but these games have been hotly contested, a lot of block shots. Schmidt will be in goal tonight, I would guarantee it. I feel like that's the way it's going to go for Lindy Ruff. But if he gets off to a bad start quickly, he'll be yanked. There's no question about that. So I think Rangers got to be dug in, because the Devils are going to come flying out at the beginning of this game. It's in their building. The fans will be crazy. Probably be a 50-50 fan split again.
Sure.
I would think. And this is going to be quite the Game 7 to end this series and to end one of these teams' great seasons.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we said early on, that you wish that this had been maybe a little bit later in the postseason that they met, because they both had great regular seasons, but that's the way that it broke out. And by the way, I mean, I know that the upsets and the things that we have seen in the NHL postseason, you never really can say, all right, this opponent's better for me than another. But the Boston Bruins being out and the Tampa Bay Lightning being out, I mean, a team that had a historic regular season and another team
and the Avalanche are out.
Well, I'm talking about the Eastern Conference playoffs with the Rangers and Devils moving on. Having those 2 teams out, I mean, those are teams you didn't want to face. You didn't want to see them for different reasons. One, the Lightning are always there. I mean, they still have a core of a champion, and the Bruins were a team that were destined for the Stanley Cup final this year and were favorites to win the whole thing. So the team, meaning that the team that moves on, in theory, should have a little bit of an easier road. With the NHL postseason, you really have no idea.
It's amazing what Boston did. Now, they had 2 goalies, and the second goalie ended up starting yesterday's game and ended up losing yesterday's game. And that's because, their initial goalie, who had one of the greatest seasons in the history of the NHL, I think he had 40-something wins. He might have had 40 wins. I mean, it was ridiculous how good Linus Ullmark was. And Montgomery the coach of the Bruins, decided to go with Swayman, the backup. I mean, that's what happens in these series. You get crazed. Like, Lindy Ruff wanted to go with Vitek Vanacek, wanted to be the guy. Mm-hmm. And he got lit up those first 2 games, and he comes back with Akira Schmid. Schmid plays great for 2 games, and everybody's like, oh, my God, this is going to be, this guy's going to steal the series. So you never know. That's why these things are so crazy, and why we as NHL fans are like, you just never know which team and which guy is going to show up and play goal. I do know this, that Igor has been great throughout the entire series, so hopefully that will continue tonight for him. Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.